Welcome to a new weekly preview. This time with more spoilers than usual because Terran's World was awesome enough to start getting all these Switch spoilers. So for the Switch folks, you get to enjoy some future look as well. So it'll be a lot more useful to you guys. But let us begin as we always do on the PC Mobile, PS4, Xbox side of things. The event this time around that we've got is the Tower of Doom. So the Tower of Doom is being restricted by red troops this time around. Up in the shop, there's a new weapon, the Doom Helm. This Doom Helm, not very good. It's one of the life type style Doom weapons, so I would recommend you basically use this event, take all the Flame Forge scrolls that you have and chuck them into your Doom crossbow. But I still recommend getting up to the weapon anyways, just because you never know. If they buff that thing, you don't want to be the person who does not have it. But as far as the teams this time around, I've got a couple. So that's for the Switch. For the event, we've got two teams. So the team I'm actually going to be running with this time is pretty darn simple. So it's just going to be a Mang with some defense set up with Divinia, a way of getting brown mana set up for barriers, and then another person that's going to basically just enable skull damage with Mang. So as long as I have yellow mana going on, and the nice thing here is that we do have yellow mana going on, it's transforming browns to yellows. We've got ways of basically surviving, getting barriers, dealing skull damage, and just like taking lots of attack. So this team seems like it should be fairly competent, fairly easy to put together as well. So this team should be something that would be fairly effective. And as far as the alternative for folks that have less troops, this is basically the same idea. You're running a Mang, and then you've got Harpy Mage in here to help you get things started. It'll also keep a dust storm flowing, so you'll always have barrier going on. The explosions will also help you get mana on these other two. Fist of Zorn is in here because it's converting all yellows to skulls. So it's the same general idea. We have somebody that's forcing skulls onto the board so your Mang can start doing their fun stuff. And then Anointed one in here is really just helping you get more red mana. Honestly, this team is totally great as well. Like, this should help you just like run through the event and keep smashing everything. Just make sure you're constantly matching browns to get your Titan barriers up and running. As far as troops this time around, not in the troops menu, in the glory menu, we've got this bad chick here. So she is an empowered converter, and that makes her immediately worth looking at. She's converting yellow to purple, so that's kind of fun. And what's also notable about her is she's actually dealing damage as part of this. So traditionally, empowered converters have been more utility-oriented for the most part. They'll either curse everybody, heal everybody on your team, maybe enrage somebody. They do that kind of stuff. This is the first one that's like just doing straight damage as part of their conversion, if you're not counting the skull people. So really strong recommend, absolutely ensure that you get her. I would recommend you get her up to Mythic. Obviously, you're going to need to trade her. She's a knight, so maybe knights are going to be awesome now. Maybe knights are super epic. I mean, she is converting into purple. The cane sword weapon is purple, so take another gander at the knight class. Not really. But she is also a daemon type, so daemon, you know, nothing super synergistic there. This might be a nice Glaceon setup, for instance, since Glaceon takes purple as well. He's also a daemon, so you might be able to run some kind of lineup like that. But strongly recommend you get this troop, you get it fully traded, all that good stuff. Beyond all of that, the adventure board, super duper noteworthy. So we've got deeds in there, deeds of fire. We've also got legendary gems. As per my video, I'm throwing all of my deeds of fire into the wild plains initially. The reason for this is just because of the kingdom bonus. So for the kingdom bonus side of things, you can throw together some decent teams with our big boy Ketris there. So if you're running a pure kingdom team, there is actual value in having tons of stats, and Ketris is actually super perfect with that kind of thing. You can throw together a decent team with that. So that's my justification. There's no underworld bonus, there's no magic that's there, so this will get you the attack stat. This will also give you a kingdom bonus that I think will actually be very useful. So that's where I'm chucking my fire deeds, but make sure you jump in, do your adventure board, crush it, get your stuff. I seem to love opening up the troops menu today. In the Soul Forge, we've got a couple interesting things, which is going to be a problem. So you've got High King Iron Gut and Obsidious. So both of these are must craft, like absolutely 100% must craft. If you don't have one, then get the other. If you have, or I should say, if you have one, get the other. If you don't have either of these, you need to make a choice, basically. If you're looking for like a PvP team for Guild Wars, just for PvP grinding, just a generally amazing troop in general, could be useful in events and delves since it's just turning off all traits whenever you do a 4 or 5 match. Obsidious would be your person. However, if you are fishing for like opening up the world of delving, if you're trying to like have some sneaky way of like just devouring people either in the Tower of Doom event or other events, High King Iron Gut's your guy. You cannot go wrong if you craft either of these. I would say if you are just starting out, High King Iron Gut would be the better craft. He will enable you to do a lot more events and delves. However, if you are someone that's been playing a while, maybe you can already do delves or you're already happy with your delving situation, you might want to pick up Obsidius instead. But honestly, either of these are totally fine. Craft either of these if you don't have them, please. They are both amazing. Latest tier list video has them both up there. They're both Obsidius I put in S and High King Iron Gut I put in A. So feel free, make sure you jump in, craft those things, get them while they're hot. That is everything that is in the game. As far as what isn't in the game, this is the spoilers section. We've got some other stuff. So Tuesday we've got the Crypt Keepers faction assault. So Crypt Keepers is nothing really all that noteworthy, crazy, special. So make sure you jump in there and do your Crypt Keepers. Let me see what team I'm even using. That team doesn't make any sense. So that's a Purple Day Guild Wars team that I used to use. So clearly this is what I was just using to mess around with. But jump in there, make sure you do your faction assault, get that stuff done. As far as the Wednesday, we are getting a new pet, so it's Giant Teeny. It basically just looks like a giant, and you can just pretend that it's really tiny, because I assume it is. So look forward to that on Wednesday. On Thursday, we have a class event. The class event is for the Death Knight class, which is really not super noteworthy, but the Death Knight class, if you're not familiar, is very, death-oriented, as you can imagine. Death marking all enemies when they die is a very odd talent. Their trees are kind of interesting. You do get access to Lightning Strike if you get it up to 70, which is kind of fun. The Guardian tree would get you access to Banishment, although you'd have to pick Banishment or Lightning Strike, so that's not super fun. But then beyond all of that, there's really nothing too amazing in here. Like, there's a lot of little utility type stuff. So I don't rate the Death Knight class highly at all, but if you feel like leveling it up or it's just another class that you need, by all means, that could be your thing. Maybe you just feel like using your new Vash and eating your hero right away to deathmark everybody. I don't know. But I never use the Death Knight. I wouldn't really recommend focusing on it until you've gotten all of your other primary classes done. But then Friday to Sunday, we've got a Gnome weekend, everybody. So if you are looking to stock up on Vault Keys, this weekend is your weekend to get that done. But that is everything on the PC, mobile, Xbox, PlayStation side of things. Let's check out our Switch friends. For my Switchers out there, we've got ourselves a Raid Boss event. So Raid Boss style, of course, you're going to be jumping in and smashing up some Zool. So the kingdom restrictions are on Zul'Kari this time around, which is kind of not the best. But as far as teams that I threw together, this is one that if you just happen to have everything, you can feel free to do this. Honestly, you could replace Arachne Weaver with the Widow Queen if you'd like in this specific build. Arachne Weaver will just, potentially bring a little more value, but admittedly the Widow Queen will help you just get tons of webs up, so that might also be fun for you. But the general idea of this is that you're using Mang, of course, and then you've got your Dark Maiden, which is allowing you to transform anything you want, yellow into anything that you want. It also gives your first hero here a little more life, so that's cool. But then you can basically use Dark Maiden to help you get purple mana or, for these people, or green, for instance, if you wanted those people. But you're basically just using her, blasting down your Zool with her. She's getting boosted by webbed enemies, which is why Arachne Weaver or the Dark Widow, or the Widow Queen, I should say, is what we're putting in the bottom slot there. Because each extra webbed enemy that you have, you'll be doing an extra 4 damage. And of course, since you're going to be blasting the boss with it, that's being multiplied by this multiplier. So for every webbed enemy, you're doing a lot more value, at a minimum 12 if just one person's webbed, up to a maximum of, 12 times 5, so 60? Up to a total of 60 extra damage. So definitely worth trying to get some webs out there if you can. The new Dark Shot weapon that you guys got is definitely cool. So if you go into the event shop, there is a Dark Shot weapon. This weapon is actually one of the strongest mana generators in the game, but it does have a very hard mechanic to build around, which is the ability to web people. So in terms of mana generation, it's doing ×3 boost. So if you have 4 people webbed, for instance, That's going to be doing 12 extra purple, so for a total of 17 purple. So this weapon's actually really cool. It also has the ability to create a dark storm itself, and it does web the first enemy. So as far as like a weapon goes in general, I think this is a very interesting weapon to have. As far as the event itself goes, you can get away with running it, but the problem is that your frontline troop is not necessarily going to have any natural protection. So it's a little less exciting from that point of view. But if you're just looking to really spam out your new tower, well, not tower smashy, the Zool smashy troop, then by all means try and build something with Dark Shot there. Your top troop is going to run into a little bit of problems unless you still just run the Titan class and just happen to be matching browns as you run around. The benefit of this build is that you can turn things into brown if you need the barrier here with the Dark Maiden. But that's the one team I came up with. The other team that I came up with is basically a very similar one. However, instead of an Arachnid Weaver, we've got Giant Spider. So Giant Spider is going to transform something into purple. So you've got two basically focused mana converters here. You've got someone that can turn yellows into anything, and you've got someone that can turn a selected thing into purple specifically. So a way of generating purple mana here and a way of generating any specific mana that you want here. Same idea, run it with Titan, and then basically just make sure you're blasting Zool with your Tarantella troop there. You're not going to get any value here out of webbing, so that part not as fun, but in terms of like your Mang setup and mana generation, this should be very, very good. So it should be quick to blast down to the Zool troop there. But those are the teams that I came up with. As far as the glory troop you guys got this time around, it's kind of like this super not good troop, but if I can spell the word cocoon, what in the world? Oh, dear Lord. Is it cocoon? Holy crap. I'm just gonna do it this way. Sort by Zulkari. It's cocoon. Okay, so spelling lesson for me. You guys got Cocoon, so Cocoon is just webbing somebody and then summoning a spider. You do get a little bonus purple, but overall this troop is garbage. Never used, never will be used. It's just not that good. So unfortunately, this is the troop that you got, but it's worth picking up, of course. Wouldn't recommend trying to max it or anything quite like that. But Cocoon is there for you if you're looking for it. Your guys' adventure board looks the same as everybody else's now, so please make sure you're jumping in there and getting your deeds and your legendary gems. As I mentioned in the other side, I'm throwing my red deeds specifically into the wild plains. This is going to get you the attack stat, and it's also going to give you a kingdom bonus that will be very useful since Ketris is a very stat-oriented troop, and he scales when you get all that fun kingdom bonus stuff, and there's actually competent teams you can build together with a pure kingdom setup here with wild plains. You guys will potentially be getting access to a class later that will help you with that. We can get to spoilers in some future videos, but there's a class that eventually will go into that kingdom that will be useful to help you start with that whole thing up. But the only other thing that we need to chat about is the Soul Forge for you guys. So of the mythics that were available in the Soul Forge, there's two that I think are worth talking about. Voice of Orpheus is in there. So Voice of Orpheus, if you're not familiar, is probably one of my favorite utility style troops. He passively just cleanses everybody on your team whenever you match yellow gems. So this is insanely nice to just kind of leave him in your lineup and then just constantly be cleansing your team. You don't really have to worry about debuffs. He's also impervious, so you can't really turn off this ability. Certainly not on the Switch just yet. So in terms of just having the ability to cleanse all the time, if he did nothing else, this would already make him pretty cool. However, he also has a spell ability which can do a very solid nuke, so it's a 1-to-1 boost ratio on all of your mana. So think of this as like if you had 4 troops and they all had 15 mana, when you shoot him off and everyone was full, would be doing 60 extra damage. So you can just imagine the damage potential can be pretty high, especially if you're running a lineup that's got a lot of mana people in it, like a lot more mythic style troops. But then also when you cast him, he's cleansing everybody, and when you cast him, he's giving everybody mana. So really decent single target nuke, the ability to cleanse when you cast him, just in case you need it. And then there's also this giving everyone mana thing. So I find him to be very interesting and useful. He doesn't have any loop potential, so that kind of limits him a little bit. But just having somebody that you can constantly rely on to cleanse your team, insanely effective. And the fact that his nuke is actually pretty decent is very nice add. So Voice of Orpheus I recommend crafting or if you don't got them. The other person that's in there, of course, is our friend Arachnid Weaver. So in the team that I just showed, this was using Arachnid Weaver. It's a very timely availability for him. He's webbing everybody that's on the other team and then also dealing a decent amount of true damage to the bottom two. If he kills somebody, then he blows up the entire board. So that damage isn't inconsequential, but it's not something that you're going to be able to kill in your first shot. You're probably going to have to shoot him off like 2 times in order to actually get a kill out of that. He does have this other cool thing where he's got a 75% chance to summon a web spinner. So web spinner, if you're not familiar, is another spider type troop that does triple skull damage whenever it hits somebody, because it webs somebody and then it immediately does triple skull damage to that new person it just webbed. So web spinner being summoned is actually a really nice summon, since it's a very useful troop to actually put up there. And the other cool thing about Arachnid Weaver is that it's impervious and stealthy, so it's like an insanely hard troop to kind of get at. So very survivable kind of troop, generally run in the back of your lineup. So if you don't have Arachnid Weaver or Voice of Orpheus, I recommend giving them both a glance. I think they're both very good troops. That is everything that's in the game, but let us jump over to the spoilers section, since I can do that for you guys now. Spoilers for later on in the week. So Tuesday, you guys have a Primal Rift Faction Assault event. So Primal Rift is pretty cool, actually. So make sure you jump in there and do your Primal Rift Faction Assault. Good opportunity to get a ton of ingots. On Wednesday, you guys are going to have a pet event for Griffling. And then on Thursday, you guys are going to have an Orb Weaver class event. So that's super noteworthy just because of the event that's going on. So if you're looking to get some Orb Weaver levels, now would be a good time to do that. Orb Weaver is actually a class that's got a lot of really pesky, annoying, awful defense teams you can put together using it. So I do think it is a class that's worth leveling up, if nothing else for the defensive capabilities. I'm not the biggest fan of Orb Weaver from an offensive perspective. However, on defense, if you want to put together really frustrating and annoying teams, Orb Weaver will totally be your person, with troops that will be coming out and weapons that will be coming out for you guys later. So I do recommend investing in the Orb Weaver class a little bit. And then Friday to Sunday, you guys also have a Gnome weekend. So everybody this weekend is going to be doing some Vault smashing. So jump in there and do your explores. Just do all of your challenges. Now would be a great time to do all of your challenges, because you can also get gnomes in there. But just jump in there, do a lot of smashing, and best of luck on those gnomes. But that's everything coming on the Switch side this week as well. And that is everything that's going on this week. So again, a very big thank you to Taryn from Taryn's World for actually getting all the Switch spoilers in there. It makes me a lot happier that I can give you guys all of the content now for both the PC, mobile, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch side of things. So that'll make everyone's life a little better, certainly mine, and then hopefully by extension your guys's, so I can tell you better stuff. But I'll be having more videos later on in the week. I'll of course be doing some streams. We give out redeem codes. We have a good time. It's a good life. But that's everything going on. So this is Keylime signing off, and make sure you like, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff. Okay, bye.